Yes, lads, welcome to the Gooner's Voice. Reese Jacobs here. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're watching from. Hope you caught a brilliant game of football last night at St. James's Park. It was an absolute quality game for the neutrals. Not if you're a Newcastle fan or Liverpool fan. I suppose if you're a Liverpool fan, getting the winner is just so much sweeter. But yeah, what a game of football. But that's not why we're here today. Today, we're here to talk about, firstly, Berta doing what Berta does. What a signing that has been for Arsenal. Getting Berta into the doors has been absolutely immense. Yeah, so important. Um, Heard the news yesterday. First David Ornstein, then Fabrizio Romano, Ben Jacobs, all the usual gang breaking the news that Arsenal were interested in Piero Hincapie. For those of you who don't know him, he is a left-sided centre-back or left-back, plays for Bayer Leverkusen. Broke through in their, or really stood out in their title-winning season 2 seasons ago now. Was last season, just a few weeks ago, but 2 seasons ago now. Ecuadorian, would be the first Ecuadorian to play for Arsenal, fun fact. And yeah, really quality player. We'll talk about him a bit later, but we need to talk about Berta. We need to talk about the squad building, because I know a lot of fans will be thinking, oh, not another defender. But I don't think Arsenal were looking at another defender, given this market opportunity that has come up in a player like Piero Hincapie, because he is a real quality player. He's a player that you just cannot, you can't turn your nose up when a player like this becomes available. I actually thought a club like Liverpool would have really pressed hard and gone in for him, because they need a left-sided centre-back. We know that. And yeah, strange one, but looks like Arsenal on it. Looks like he only wants to join Arsenal from what we've been told. Another hijack on Spurs. You know, what's better than one hijack? Two. So, yeah, already refuting claims that they weren't in for Hincapie, where a lot of journalists explicitly informed us yesterday they sent through a loan with obligation to buy, but that was rejected. And that's the route Arsenal's looking at. That's the route Berta's looking at, because of the Kiwior situation, the Zinchenko situation, the fund situation. We know Arsenal's spent £250 million. However, a lot of journalists, I think it was Ben Jacobs himself, did say that Arsenal would probably be spending about £300 million this transfer window, and he called it spot on. But looks like Berta is trying to be a little bit more clever around this deal. He's looking at doing a loan with an obligation to buy. The same with Jakub Kiwior. Looks like Kiwior's on his way to Porto, barring anything else that would happen. There were real other concrete negotiations and concrete offers for Jakub Kiwior, but just not convincing enough for the player. We heard that Crystal Palace did put a proposal through. They spoke to Jakub Kiwior, but they couldn't convince him. And it seems like Kiwior said straight up to Arsenal that if it's not Arsenal, he doesn't want to play in the Premier League, and I respect that. If that's how he feels, then by all means, you have to respect that. He's given a lot to Arsenal. He's been a real professional. I think there was times where he could have got more, or Arteta could have got more from him, played him more. But he's taken it like a professional. He's taken his chance when he's gotten his chance. I thought he was excellent at the back end of last season, especially against Real Madrid. So yeah, looks like, barring anything else that should happen, that Porto is the destination for Jakub Kiwior. Looks like a loan with the obligation to buy. And if that is the case, then I think Arsenal would probably be doing the same with Piero Hincapie, a loan with an obligation to buy. And I think it would make sense, because Kiwior is really the only cover for Gabriel. I know people will point to Riccardo Calafiori, but it seems like Arteta prefers Calafiori at right centre-back when he does play centre-back. So it's a strange one. But yeah, if Kiwior does leave, there is that space. We know we've lost Tomiyasu this season. Obviously, mutual consent, that contract being ended. So it makes sense for Arsenal to be looking at a left-sided player, or left-sided centre-back, left-back. And I think it actually frees up space for someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly, who I believe his long-term future is in midfield, because he just offers so much that, it almost feels like a sin to be playing him at left-back with how good he is beating a press or holding off a press, he's really good. Like, he's the best at putting his ball between man and body. He does it so effortlessly, and he's always winning fouls. Sometimes it doesn't work out for him on one or two occasions. We know last year against West Ham that happened, but he's really good at it. And I think, yeah, he's taken his chance. He's coming onto left back and slotted into midfield. He's played the inverted wing back position quite well, but I think Arteta and generally football is moving away from that, and that's why we don't see Zinchenko in the team anymore. That's why we don't see Zinchenko getting minutes anymore. It's because football just changes really quickly, season on season. About 2 seasons ago, there was this whole reform of left backs and right backs coming into midfield, and then Pep did away with that and just played a back line of four defenders, four centre backs. So it changes all the time, and I think Arteta's changed his way now. If you haven't seen yesterday's video, go check that out, where we spoke about Calafiori, the way he suits this new system of Arteta, where he's slotting into midfield but more attackingly. So Declan Rice sits back with Zubamendi and Gabriel and Saliba, and Calafiori actually comes from left back, bombs all his way forward, and then takes that left attacking centre mid position, which is absolutely new in the Arteta system. So yeah, really, really good things to come. Let's talk about Piero Hincapie. Let's talk about last season. So just a couple of stats to throw out. They played 2,670 minutes, so a lot of games, a lot of football, which is a good thing for Arsenal because we know how players are when it comes to injuries at Arsenal. And just a few stats I wanted to pick out here, which I thought were really, really stood out to me. Yeah. So first of all, tackles won 76.9%. Let's call it 77%. So 7 out of 10 tackles he's winning, which I thought is immense, and just points to why Arteta would look at a player like him. Duels won 165 with a duel success rate of 62.3%. So he's winning more than half of his duels, and we know Arteta loves player who wins their duels. He loves that. That's why Havertz is in the team. Marino, players like these. That's why Gabriel's so important to Arsenal, because they are always winning their duels. And one thing, when I started watching, when I saw a bit of Piero Hincapie about 2 or 3 seasons ago, was really raw, really good defender, but really raw. Made a lot of mistakes, or a couple of mistakes, and discipline was not his best thing. But last season, looks like he really cleaned up his act. He got 8 yellow cards in the whole season. 8 yellow cards, not a single red card. And I think that is something that might be overlooked, very underrated. I think that's really good from him. Recoveries, 105 recoveries. Possession won in the final third. Think about this, yeah? He's a left centre-back or a left-back, and he's won possession, won in the final third 4 times. So he's a real aggressive player, and I think that's what Arteta wants. We know that's what Arsenal's built on, is aggression, it's running power, and he's someone who's got real running power, really good bombing down that left-hand side. So yeah, I would be really excited at Hincapie joining Arsenal. I think he looks at that position of Calafiori, not so much the Gabriel position. I think he looks at left back and thinks, I could probably make that my own. However, with the start that Calafiori's made, it's a really good competition there, because I think Calafiori's been exceptional these first 2 games of the season. So yeah, really good one to be looking out for. Still early days. We know Leverkusen, or from what we know, Leverkusen already rejected a loan and obligation to buy from Tottenham. So would they accept that from Arsenal? That remains to be seen. They want a straight deal, and they're saying, they want the release clause, which is 60 million euros, and rightly so. He's a really good player. He's won a league in Germany. He's been important for Leverkusen, and it's a position that is really wanted in world football at the moment, left centre-back. So yeah, left-footed centre-back. So I think it would be a really good signing. I think you'd slot into Arsenal absolutely amazingly. And then you look at the back line, you look at the strength in depth of that back line, and you think that, even if Saliba were to get injured or Gabriel were to get injured, you've got some really good quality options there. Someone like Timber can play right across that back line. He can play left centre-back, right centre-back, left back. You can someone like Calafiori, who can play left back, right centre-back, left centre-back. You look at someone like Mosquera, right centre-back, right back. And then Hincapie potentially coming in as well, left back, left centre-back. Just so many options, and I think that's what Arsenal needs, because every season we finish second, and that's 3 on the trot, which is not the best to be saying as an Arsenal fan. It's just been, it's always just the squad depth. Someone gets injured. Our first challenger under Arteta, unfortunately, was William Saliba, and then Robert Holding came in. That the quality, the drop off in quality was there to be seen by everyone. And then the season after that, I think it wasn't so much injuries, just I can't even say it was unlucky. It was just Man City being Man City. Arsenal won 13 or 14 games at the back end of the season in the running, and yeah, lost the title by a point or so. So yeah, not the best. And the last season was derailed by injuries, hands down. We saw Gabriel getting injured and Kiwior coming in, and I thought that was okay. But losing Saka, losing Odegaard, and then him coming back with an injury, just never recovered. Obviously, Havertz, Jesus ending the last couple of games without a recognised number 9 hurt Arsenal. So they're really equipped, and a lot of fans will be, a lot of pundits, a lot of the media will be saying no excuses this time for Arsenal, and rightly so. They spend a lot of money, so they have to be winning something. I think the pressure would be on Arteta, not so much from the hierarchy at Arsenal, but within the fan base and outside the fan base, rival fans, things like that, pundits. However, I think they are more than well equipped. And one thing I will say as an Arsenal fan, Arsenal supporter, any fan giving you stick of Arsenal spending money, please just point them back to the Wenger days where, we weren't spending, we were profiting. And I think it's about time Arsenal, punch their weight in the transfer market. So yeah, really good signing if it does happen. Like I said, it's still early days, couple of days left for the transfer window. Let's see if this one comes through. I would be happy if it comes through. I'm not sure about you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. What happens with Miles Lewis-Skelly? Do you think he still stays at left back, or does he permanently become a midfielder and now and then slot in at left back depending on injuries? I think that's what, in my opinion, what would happen. I think Calafiori and Hincapie would fight it and tussle it out for that left back position. And I think you have someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly who would, tussle it out with Declan Rice. Not maybe tussle it out with Declan Rice. Declan Rice is just absolutely world class in that Arsenal team, the best midfield at Arsenal at this point in time. So you'd probably deputise for Declan Rice, and you get a good couple of run of games in Carabao Cup, FA Cup, maybe some dead rubber Champions League games. So a lot to look forward to this week. We will be doing our predicted squad lineup for Anfield on Thursday, once we get a little bit more news on the injuries. On the injuries front, we heard Bukayo Saka's out for at least 4 weeks, so he's missing the Anfield game. He's missing the England duties, and then possibly missing Nottingham Forest and Man City. We'll have to see what happens there. We're still waiting for news on Odegaard. But yeah, it looks pretty positive. I think Odegaard was not as bad as Saka. We're obviously waiting to hear if it was a fracture, if it was a strain, just a little bit of a knock. Let's see what happens there, because I think it'd be really important at Anfield. And yeah, the way Liverpool struggled last night against 10-man Newcastle, and let's put this into context, it was a really fired up St. James's Park. I saw a lot of Arsenal fans saying, we'd batter Liverpool if they play that way. And I've seen Arsenal go to St. James's Park and really really fall under pressure there. And Liverpool went under the cosh a bit and they felt the pressure, but they came up with the win. So that's what champions do, and that's why Liverpool were the best team last season in England. So yeah, I wouldn't be giving them too much stick. They still got 3 points. They found a way to win, albeit against 10 men. I think it'll still be a really tough game at Anfield. But having said that, that Liverpool midfield with Szoboszlai out as right back does look a bit dodgy. And I think it's really something Arsenal could exploit. And you want Odegaard there to exploit that. Yeah, you want Odegaard looking to be in those pockets, to find the space, to play those, to spread the balls across to the wingers in behind to Victor Gyökeres. So yeah, I'm holding fingers and praying to the Lord that Odegaard is ready for Anfield, and we'll see if that happens. But yeah, I think that's all for today. Would love your thoughts on Piero Hincapie. Do Arsenal need him? Probably not. But it's a hijack from Spurs, so why not? So yeah, that's all for today. Reece Jacobs from the Gooner's Voice. Peace.